So, welcome to the Body Banter. Here we talk openly about chronic pain, about anxiety, about grief recovery and resilience. No filters, no judgments, just real conversations that connect us. I'm Sean from the Body Banter, and we've got John, who's our clinical therapist. I would like to ask you if you could subscribe or even come on the channel. Your story could change someone's life. We have new videos every week. Real talk, real people, no AI. Let's break the silence together. Welcome, John.
Hello, nice to see you again, Sean.
Yeah, and you as always, because the Body Banter is all about healing, mind healing, health healing. You know, we're not doctors. I need to make this clear to everybody, and we're not stipulating that we're magicians or wizards or anything like that. John is a very, very experienced clinical hypnotherapist, and a lot of people don't believe in hypnotherapy. Why do you think that is, John?
There's a myth. If they've seen the TV or they've seen people on stage doing things that they don't remember doing, they believe that in hypnotherapy, they'll be the same way, and you're taking over their mind and they won't be able to be in control of themselves. And it's nothing could be further from the truth. You are actually fully in control of your faculties, you're fully compos mentis. The only difference being is that you're fully relaxed, but not just relaxing your body, and also your mind as well combined. So hypnosis means relaxation. That's what it means. And there's no way that you'll be made to walk around like a chicken and laying an egg and all this sort of stuff. That's for the stage. So yeah, different world altogether.
Last podcast we did, John, we haven't invited anybody on the show yet. We're still getting ready and prepared for that. And if you feel like, well, first of all, if you feel up to it and you feel like you want to come on the show, I think it's best to email us or contact John so we can have a prior discussion with you. You know, we don't want to bring you on here and tell you, you know, the world's your oyster and it isn't. So it's good to have a pre-show like introduction sort of thing. And then if you're prepared to come on here and share your experiences like John does with some of his clients. In fact, we'll talk about this one now because last session we talked about one of your clients, John, and we had the video on there at the end, which was really amazing, you know, really amazing. And people could see it, you know, it's not fictional. Nobody's been made to do anything. We spoke about shack therapy. Shack, that's correct, isn't it, John?
Yes,
And
yes.
you've done another one, a lady. Would you like to tell us all about that? And then we'll watch the video.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Maxine. I went to see her. This is a 2009 video, but she had a stroke while she was on holiday, and then she had a massive stroke when she came back from holiday, and that was 2 years prior. And it affected her ability to speak and to have some form of cognitive movement. She couldn't even do the fingers like this, I always ask them to do this for me so I can see how much they can or can't do. Her speech was quite bad, and she also had seizures, and she could feel them coming on. She called them praying, and she was given a diary by the doctor, so write down when she felt one coming on and how big it was and these sort of things. But she had 2 or 3 seizures every single day. On the day that I went to see her, I obviously had arranged on the telephone prior, which was a week before, to go and see her. And when I went to see her, she showed me the diary of her seizures, and she said, "Since I've spoke to you on the telephone, I haven't had one." Well, that was something I gave to her suggestive-wise on the telephone, which is quite powerful. And it helped her to understand better what I was going to do for her when I got to her house. And when I did see her, her speech was quite bad. She talked like this, and it was quite slow. The 15 minutes later, she's clapping and going, "Oh my goodness, I can speak." And her son was in the corner, and she's going, "Willie, I can talk." And then she started doing this really fast, whereas 15 minutes earlier, she couldn't do it. I don't know if you've got the video there, Sean. I think I've sent you it across.
Yeah, I tell you what, John, let's put the video on now.
Not last year, not the year before.
2007?
Yeah, I was in Turkey and I had a mini stroke.
Yeah.
And when I got back to England, I had a full blown stroke.
Right.
And affected
Yep.
me speech. When I've had speech therapy. Well, I can talk. I can talk, yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I can talk. Oh, got to ring up.
We'll ring people up now. We're
Yeah,
gathering them. We'll some sort out for you.
I can't go like flat.
Yeah. Right. So,
Flat.
the signals are getting blocked out, them two fingers.
Flat.
Doing well there. That's fine, you can relax.
Can't, that.
That's alright, you relax down. So your hand, how's your hand?
Oh, it's a lot better.
Is it tingling?
Yeah, it is.
Can you do this, yeah? Can you do that? There you go. A lot faster, look at that.
Oh no,
See, you couldn't do that a minute ago.
no, I can't.
So,
I
how long-
can't.
Okay, John, that's really, it's kind of like hard to believe. It's a bit like magic, isn't it?
Yeah, well, people watch the videos on YouTube. I actually pulled a lot of them down because I was getting such negative people coming on saying it was a lie, they're actors and all this sort of thing. And they're not actors at all. They were very, very poorly people when I went to meet them. And it's just nice to walk away knowing that you've helped this person to get back to some form of normality. I mean, I won't say every single person I meet is going to be 100%, but I will say for definite that they improve. And the second time I go down, they improve even more. And as each day goes on without me even being there, they'll be improving and improving every single day. And the beauty of my job is I see them, I help them, I never see them again.
Whoa, that's amazing,
And
isn't it?
that's it. They go.
Because when you go to some therapy sessions, especially at the doctors or hospital, and these therapists that say that that they're there to help you, they seem to take forever, session after session after session. What's the difference between that and what you do, John?
I can tell you in a nutshell. I think I mentioned it on the first podcast we did. When my father had the massive stroke and his full left side went, I didn't quite understand it, but I've been studying the mind since 1974. So my father had his stroke in 86 when he was 49. So I was took into physiotherapy a couple of times and there was bending his arms backwards and forwards and his legs. And my dad's a pretty shy man, pretty quiet, so this is embarrassing for him. So I said to the lady, what's the object of what you're doing? She said, well, gradually the signal will go back up his arm and reattach itself to his brain. So I said, okay, we're talking cognitive, but how long does that take? And she said, normally about 2 years. So I went, well, I said, can't you do it direct from the brain? And she just laughed and said, no, that's impossible. Now, to me, that's like a red rag to a bull, like I said before. And I came up with quite a few metaphors to bombard my dad's imagination, to stimulate his brain, to stimulate his mind, to redirect the signals that were just trying to get through this damaged area, the blockage area. And I redirected all the signals, and my dad was back at work within 10 weeks, right? Fully recovered, fully functional, everything back to normal. And he said to me, why restrict this to me? Which I've said earlier, it's a true story. So I got many volunteers and every single person that you ever see me help with shock therapy, and the ones you don't see me, I have never charged a penny. I don't charge for that at all. It's completely free because each one is an experiment. The reason being is a stroke is like a thumbprint or a fingerprint. It's unique. You'd never get the same person to have exactly the same stroke as the one before. So it affects people in different ways, the speech. Every single aspect of a stroke is unique, whether it's a TIA, which is a mini stroke, or full blown stroke, whatever it is. And I've had people, I've gone up, been asked to see people in a coma, and I'm thinking, whoa, you know what I mean? And they've come out of
Yeah.
the coma, and 2
Yeah, I
hours
remember.
later they sat drinking a cup of tea.
Yeah, I remember that on the podcast that you told me last time.
Yeah.
John, we talk about shock therapy, which you kind of like developed yourself, and it's very interesting. You've wrote books about it. Where can people buy your books?
They're on Amazon, KDP. There's a Kindle version, and there's also, I mean, I'm not the best grammatically at writing things, so I write as I speak, but everything is done in a sequential order that I do the therapy in. So I've written how to do shock therapy for yourself, because other people can do it.
Wow.
And some people, inside there's contacts to contact me via email, etc. And I do get asked questions, and I ask people ask me if we can do it face to face. I've done Zoom Shack, and I don't really like doing Zoom Shack. It does work to an extent, but there's a part of Shack where you need to touch, and that's where Shack becomes quite powerful,
Yeah, you said,
because
yeah. Yeah.
no one will ever walk up to you and start tapping you on your shoulder like this, and which is what I do. I'm a very touchy person, and it shocks the person in a good way, because the subconscious has come forward. It's overriding the conscious part of the brain. It's come forward and it's saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" While it's saying that, I'm giving it suggestions to how I want it to react, and that's where the power of Shack comes in.
John, you've spoke about this quite a lot, and it's in your books, and suggest people to go to Amazon and have a look at John's books. But how do people come to you with, like, for example, if you've got something on your mind and you can't shift it, can
Yeah.
you do things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. If years and years ago, I used to have offices in the town centre down Savile
Mm.
Street in Hull, and it became not worth having them because a lot of my clients wouldn't come to me
Yeah,
because
I
of like
understand that.
shyness or
Yeah.
agoraphobia. And so I thought, well, I became mobile, and now I'm a mobile hypnotherapist, which is what I'm known as. I get called out for all manner of things, and someone said, "What things can you help people with?" So I thought, well, what's the best way to describe it? And I said, if you get a size 8 font, and you filled an A4 piece of paper with every single thing that you could possibly help a person with the mind, and it affects the anatomy as well. And then you got that A4 piece of paper and you filled a complete wall full of all these different things you could help a person with the mind, that should cover just about what you can do and more. It's infinite. The mind is infinite. The mind is the mini universe. And what I like to do is fly my spaceship around it and find out whereabouts within that universe your problem lies, and then deal with it from within.
Well, John, scientists have proven we aren't tapped into the human brain. Probably hardly anything, a quarter, maybe even half. I still think there's a lot of psychic energy that people don't really understand. And I think one day, as we evolve more or as we develop more and understand the brain, the cognitive part of it especially, I firmly believe we can be telepathic. We can talk to each other without speaking, and I don't think we've uncapped that technology yet. So I understand what you're saying about how to overcome people's anxiety and fear and mind, because if you've got something on your mind, the more you think about it, the more negative it becomes. And I've read many books, John, where somebody said to me that your left brain controls the right hand side of your body. The right brain controls the left hand side of your body. The left is negative, the right is positive. The more negative you think, the more that you will be a negative person, because your brain becomes stronger in that area. The more positive you are, outgoing and strong, the more that you will be that kind of person. I can relate that, John, to my mother. My mother was one of the most negative people you could ever wish to see. And, mother being mother, I'm not slagging her off. I'm saying I could tell every time what she was going to say. Coronation Street. Oh, don't put that bloody rubbish on. You know, okay, do you want to go to this restaurant? I'm not going to that bloody restaurant again. You know, so everything that came out of her mouth was negative because all she ever did was think negative. George, make me a cup of tea. I've told you hundreds of times I don't like to, you know. It was unbelievable, John. I strongly believe that what you're saying, you can eradicate those negatives to become a positive. Would you say that?
Absolutely, 100%. That's what I do. Yeah, I tap into what's bothering them. And what you were saying about the left brain and the right brain, one is art and one is numbers. And the Chinese, their writing is numbers and art combined. That's why the Chinese use both sides of the brain simultaneously. They have a different way of thinking altogether, so they can invent stuff that we couldn't even comprehend. And they're very, very clever people. It's because of the way they're brought up and the way they read and digest. Whereas us, we either use one or the other. And it's a yin and yang as well. But when I get people who come to me very negative, what I need to do is relax them, relax the body, relax the mind. After speaking to them, obviously, about what the negativity is or what the fear or the phobia is. I don't know if I mentioned before, I had a lady who had a phobia of jelly babies, of all
Ah,
things. And luckily, she came to my office in the town centre, and I'd bought a packet of jelly babies for her, but I didn't tell her that. I regressed her back to when she was a very young child. I mean, I didn't need to take her there. She took herself there because within your subconscious, I equate each day as a bubble. And when I'm talking to a client, I'll say, well, each day is a bubble. So as you wake up, you form a new bubble. Within that bubble, every single emotion, every temperature change, every conversation you've ever had, every person you've ever met is encapsulated in that bubble. And then you go to sleep. That bubble gets pushed back. And if you wake up, you form a new bubble. So over the years, and I say to them, how old are you? And they tell me how old they are. So I said, you've got thousands of bubbles pushing and pushing and pushing and getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper down inside your subconscious. And I said, if you get a bubble and you put it in the sea and you push that bubble down in the sea, it will get compressed and compressed. And the lower you're down, the pressure of the sea will compress it. So within inside your subconscious, you have all these compressed bubbles that they're there. They're triggering off little emotions now, but you don't know where they are. So what I do is allow you to go within your subconscious. You can fly over these bubbles if you want to, and you'll see light bubbles, you'll see dark bubbles. It's the dark ones we need the subconscious to take you to. And I'll say you don't need to know how to get there. You'll just get there. And then I give a little example about the man on the horse, and he's in a field, and this horse walks into this field and the hay is really high, but there's no rider. There's a saddle, but there's no rider. So the man sees the horse, think, where's the rider? The only way he could see it is by climbing onto the horse and looking around the field for indentations in the straw. He couldn't see any when suddenly the horse turns left, goes down the roadways, goes down the country roads, and it comes to this farmland. And as the man looks to his left, he can see all these stables and he can see the man dressed up who looks like the man in charge. The horse walks in towards this man, and the man looks at the rider and said, oh, you found my horse, but how did you know that I lived here? He said, well, I didn't know your horse brought me. Your subconscious is your horse. It will
wow.
take you to where you need to be. You don't need to know how to get there or why you're going there. It'll take you there because you've
That's
come to see
awesome.
me for a reason. And your subconscious knows the reason. You consciously don't know. So you're consciously worrying so much that you're triggering off this bubble somewhere down deep in your subconscious. We need to go down there and burst it and release it and find out what's going on. So that's my analogy for
Mm,
them.
that's interesting. John, what's the difference between what you do and NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming?
There's a vast difference, really, because NLP, it works on a conscious and a subconscious level at the same time. It's quite clever. As an example, when I was learning how to do NLP, a guy called Mike Foley, he was one of my teachers and he's a lovely guy. I taught him how to do stage hypnosis. He taught me NLP. It was really clever because I met this salesman and the salesman was saying how good he is at selling things. I tested NLP on him. I bought, I actually, sorry, I didn't buy, I sold the salesman his own box of matches for 20 pence. His own box of matches, I sold them to him for 20 pence using NLP. It's like a reverse way of talking. It's very clever. And there's a lot of pauses in NLP. So if I'm talking to you, for instance, and I'll say, what can I say as an example? I'll say, right, you will do as I'm telling you. You're not going to listen to me because that's quite forceful. But what I'll say is something like, now what I would suggest is pause. Subconscious comes forward. What are you suggesting? You will want to sing on the microphone and enjoy it. Now, what I will suggest, so what I've just said there in that sentence is, you will get on the microphone and sing now.
Yeah, but you've broke it down into
But you're breaking it
pauses.
into a broken down sentence. So I'll say, what I
Yeah.
will suggest is, you will get on that microphone. Now, what else I'll suggest is, by the time you've got on that microphone, you
Yeah.
start singing, you're really going to enjoy it. So you told the subconscious you're going to get on the microphone now. It doesn't know
Yeah.
you've told it, but you feel like you want to get on that microphone now. So
Yeah.
there's different ways of using it, and there's also bad ways of using it as well. And people on the telephone use what you call a scientific method, and they use what you call a second trial clause. And when they start using that with me, I'll bring it to the attention that I know what they're doing, because
Interesting, John. Yeah.
making it say yes, yes, yes to all the answers.
Well, when I was a school teacher, I kind of like got into NLP a bit because I think it helps you with psychology as well. Because as you appreciate, students nowadays are quite boisterous and naughty, and you can't shout, you can't be aggressive, you can't be abusive. You've really got to think about. So you need to do what you just said, like pause.
Pause.
Don't say nothing back to the students. Let them carry on. Fold your arms, look at them. They shouldn't shut up, So there's a lot to be said for NLP, because as a manager and as a teacher, I have gone through it. It's challenging. It's not easy to. You can buy any book NLP on the land. There's lots of different ones, but they're not easy to understand. So you need a powerful mind to understand it. And once you, it's a bit like a filing cabinet. You're putting things away in a certain area. You're logging that in your brain in the same way. Now,
Yeah.
John, just tell me what happened with the jelly babies.
Yeah, I ate them. No, I didn't. She came to see me, and just talking about jelly babies I could see the fear in her face. And I said, right, well, we're not going to talk about them anymore now. But can you remember where it started from? She went, I ain't got a clue. I don't know. I said, would you like me to help you? Now, her subconscious knows where that bubble is, somewhere deep down in her subconscious. So I relaxed her, relaxed her mind, relaxed her body, got her laid down nice and relaxed. And then I said to her, I'd like you to imagine your conscious is driving you at the moment and it's steering you. But what I want you to do is I want you to get out of the driver's seat. I want you to turn around. I want you to walk to the veil that separates your conscious from your subconscious. I want you to lift the veil up and go through. So this is all while their eyes are closed and they can picture it all and start to work the way through. So I want you to stand on the edge of your subconscious. I want you to look down. I want you to see all these bubbles that we described, and some are lighting up, some are dark, some are happy, some are jolly, some are having parties, some are having discos. And I want you to fly down and go to where and stop when you feel that you're at the right place. And they go deep into the subconscious, and then suddenly they start floating above a bubble. And I say, well, can you lower yourself down? They lower themselves down, and I say, I want you to feel your feet going through, feel your legs going through, feel your body going through, feel yourself going through. And if they feel that they're lowering themselves down, they can actually feel it. Sometimes the hair, you can see the hair moving physically in front of you. And when they lower themselves in and go into that bubble, then I'll say to them, right, I said, do you feel safe? And they say, yeah. So if you feel unsafe, I want you to be an observer. If you feel okay, I want you to feel yourself there. I want you to smell the smell, see the sights, and feel the feelings. So make them become part of this scenario. This lady went in there. She could see the back of a settee. Her mum and dad was sat watching TV, and she could see this little girl. The little girl was hair. And the little girl, I got a jelly baby stuck in her throat, and she was choking, and she couldn't breathe, and she was getting panicky. I said, no, what's happening? Now she's an adult observing this little girl. I said, what's happening? She said, Mum's run to her. I said, what's she doing? She said, she's banging her on the back. I said, how's she feeling? She said, oh, she's cleared the airway. She's all right now. I said, who's the little girl? She said, it's me. I said, I want you to pick that little girl up and tell her everything's all right. And tell her not to worry about a thing ever again. and you've seen the outcome. You've seen your mum doing that, something you didn't actually remember before, but now you can see mum's just sat down back to watching TV and dad's watching TV. Not a worry in the world. You're safe and you're okay with the jelly babies now because you know to bite little bits off and not get them stuck in your throat as a child. So once you accept everything that's been done now, and only once you've accepted it, can you start to put the girl down, give her your love if you want, give your parents your love if you've lost your parents, give your parents your love, whatever, get closure. They bring her back up, bring her back to the driver's seat, turn around, eyes open, back in the room. I said, how you feeling? She went, okay. And I got my jelly babies out. I opened them up. I said, do you want one of these? She went, oh yeah, thank you. Just that jelly babies.
Hey, what a
That's just
story
one.
that is.
That's one method. I don't. Oh, there's various methods. That's just one method I use because that's what I felt was required for that particular therapy. So it was different methods.
Unbelievable. And I'm sure if people are watching this channel that they're going to, understand what we're talking about because, you've gone through it. You've got years of experience. Together we can help a lot of people. Now, just to let the viewers know who are watching this, I started this channel to give a voice to the stories that often go unheard. And believe me, there's a lot of them. Whether you're living it, supporting someone, or just curious, you are welcome here. And all we ask you to do is subscribe to join the conversation, share your story, because healing starts with being heard. That correct, John?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So until the next podcast, we're going to be doing this once a week. So weekly podcasts until you feel confident that that you feel you can come on the show. If you're not suffering, but you've got a story, we'd like to hear that too. Anybody who's, a recurring alcoholic, drug addict, let's give it a go. Contact John, have a pre-show interview, and then we'll invite you on here. And I'm pretty sure that you'll change your mind. So once again, thank you for watching the Body Banter. And thanks to our master, John Green, John W. Green, I'll get into trouble.
Thanks, Sean.
And hope
Take
you
care.
enjoyed the video and see you on the next one. Thank you.